Well, my first trip up here was from Nelson. I came to Nelson to stake gold, and it didn't pan out very good, and I went broke and got a job in Nelson. And the first vacation, somebody told me to go up to the Lardo. I liked hunting and fishing, particularly grizzly bear hunting. So I came up here to Gold Hill, where there was a hotel, which is now gone, and went hunting, grizzly bear hunting, goat hunting, and stayed there a week. Went back to Nelson, and the following year I decided to come back again, and we got on the train at Nelson, and they had one car there, just one car, with oil lamps in it, and you got on about 1 o'clock in the morning, and it came to Procter, got on the boat, on the barge that is, and the Moyer brought us to Lardo, and we got off the barge there, that is still on the train, and got on the track here that used to go up to Gerard, and you could get off at Gold Hill at noon the next day. So I came here 2 or 3 times on vacation, and I saw the war coming along, and about towards the end of the 30s. So I built a boat in Nelson and came to Lardo, for keeps, that is. I was sick of the city. And I built a boat there, and my wife went up before me, and we settled at Gold Hill. And by and large I got to know about the bush and how to live in the bush, and we got it down so that we could live with 2 grocery orders a year, about $100 each. Outside about 5 articles, we lived entirely off the bush. The articles were, of course, one was tobacco, sugar, tea, coffee, and flour. That was about all. I hunted grouse, goat, and deer, and fish, and the odd bear. This was before the war started. We stayed in for 18 months without going out to the city again. And my wife and I thought we'd be better go out to the city, and we went out to Nelson for about a week, and we both felt really better when we got back over the ferry. The ferry was running at that time, and headed back to the Lardo. When we got back to Gold Hill, we found we had picked up some bugs in Nelson, and both had 2 beautiful colds, which we had never had the 18 months we were at Gold Hill. By and by I achieved a fair heir to a trap line and started to be a trapper, which was pretty new to me. I knew nothing but cities before, but I got quite successful and was able to make a few dollars at trapping, besides live very good. Then, of course, the war came along, and I was called up, having been in the last war, but the Canadians, Dental Corps, asked me if I would join up, and I said I would, so away I went on the train again. And my first fellow, I came back, there was no track, they'd taken the track up. So after the war, we decided that we would come to Howser. When we came to Howser, we lived in a large 2-storied house there, which was originally erected for the English remittance men to come over from England and stay there while they looked over the land. And many of them, of course, bought land. We now stay in that house, which will soon be covered with the dam water. On one of the doors there is a notice to the effect that room and board with service could be had for $1.50. That's how old the house is. That must have been about 1904, 5, 6, or 7.
It was a kind of a boarding house, was it?
Yes, there was a Chinaman cook, and the Chinaman cook at that time would not serve you dinner unless you were dressed properly.
I just wondered, I'm going to ask you some questions to cover that same ground again, because you forget about this, you see. Now this is going on the but it doesn't make any
I see.
difference.
It doesn't make any
It
difference.
doesn't make any
Good
difference.
enough.
No, we just relax, you see.
Yeah.
I wonder if you could perhaps just go over this some of this ground again, because it's very interesting. You got fed up with things and you came up into Gold Hill there. What sort of place was it at Gold Hill? What did you find you had there?
All there was at Gold Hill was the Miners' Hotel. It was a big 2 floors, 2-storied hotel. When I got there, the bar was still there. But of course it was defunct, since the mining business was flat like everything else in the Depression.
There's nothing else but the bar. They didn't leave anything else behind, I guess. Any liquor or anything?
No, we attended to our own supply of liquor. That was one of the things we were able to do for ourselves up there.
Yeah. Did you find it very lonely up there, or did you like this sort of time?
My wife and I, there was only my wife and I, and the lady who looked after the hotel, and her stepfather. That was all the people that were there. Sometimes we wouldn't see anybody for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and once 6 weeks we never saw anybody. The slides were down at Lardeau and the train couldn't get up. But the loneliness never bothered us at all. There was always lots to do, and the day was never long enough.
What would there be a hotel at Gold Hill for at all in the first place?
The hotel at Gold Hill was put in about 1901 or 1902 to accommodate the prospectors who had come back from the Trail of 98, who either went to Rossland or the Lardeau. And in 1902 they staked the Lucky Jack, which was one of the richest mines in BC per day of operation. And there was lots of prospectors.
Was there a mine at Gold Hill, actually?
There was a gold dredge in the river about half a mile above it. It can still be seen yet, the place where they dredged.
I should think that hotel was never very much used, and it didn't lead anywhere to Gold Hill itself. Was that a branch, or was it a branching off place for country?
Well, Gold Hill is the only really big flat in the valley, and there's mines and claims all round it and gopher holes all over the mountain where the prospectors prospected, and this went on as long as gold was good. Even up to the end of the Depression, there was placer miners still working. And even after the war, they came from California and staked the whole Lardeau River, and they stayed at Gold Hill.
So that there really was gold in the country. There's quite a bit.
Oh, yes, yes.
Yes, I see. Because there's nothing as you drive along the road now there. Just a sign says Gold Hill.
That's right.
No hotel, nothing.
That's right. It's flat. It's gone.
What happened to it?
It fell down with the snow, finally. Fell down with the snow and was bought for the lumber that was in it.
What did the hotel look like? Was it a big place or just a small?
It was a big 2-storied building, a great big high building.
How many rooms would it have in it?
Oh, 10, 11. And a big front room where the prospectors gathered at night.
And that's where you lived all the time?
We lived, yes, that's where we lived.
Would you go out into the hills a lot from there, I suppose?
I was in the hills nearly every day, winter and summer. Very seldom, even through the winter, I missed going out snowshoeing.
Did you ever come over to Duncan Lake in those days?
Once I came over.
You didn't get to know it in those days?
Didn't get to know it very well.
Were there any old-timers around there in those days, and around Gold Hill? People
Oh, yes, yes. John Alvin was there, and Mrs. Rear was there. Mrs. Alvin had died before I got there, but they came in here with the railroad in 1902, 1903. And there was prospectors here who had come in here after the Trail of 98 was over with. Alec Robb was here, Tony Hansen, Grey Johnny, I don't know the right names, but they all had nicknames as far as that goes. Potato Charlie and Fingerless Bob, I don't know the right names, but these were all old-time prospectors.
Had some of these people been in the Caslow-Slocan area before going up to the...
Some of them
Rondell?
had been in Caslow at Riondale and up Caslow Creek prospecting, and in the Bayonne country too.
Where's the Bayonne country?
The Bayonne country is up on the main lake on the south side as you go to Canal Flats. Kootenai Forest logged up there, up from past Wilson Creek.
And right in back of there, back of...
Yeah, right up on the summit.
Crawford Bay in that country.
Quite not too far from where the Skyway goes now.
Oh, on the Salmo side, over that side.
Yes, yeah.
Yes, I see, yes. It's the Bayonne country.
Yeah.
You remember did you hear any yarns or stories from those days up in Gold Creek? Anything that happened there before? Any of these old-timers that you knew? Any yarns?
Well, there was lots of stories, all right, but I can't recall any right now.
The kind of thing that they would talk about, you know, I suppose in the evenings. And,
Yes, they used to sit around and talk, all right. Joe Gallo, of course, was very interested in this country and had lots of claims round here. He had gone here and there and everywhere in BC, staking claims, and he was a regular rounder as far as prospecting goes. And one night we were sitting in the hotel, and somebody was berating me because I was such a rolling stone too. And Joe said, never mind, Dave, he says, not forget, a rolling stone, he's got lots polish.
yeah. They're quite witty, some of those old chaps, weren't they?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Anything that you can tell me about them, you know, and how they were and what they did and what they looked like or what they talked about would be very interesting to hear.
I can't remember any more right now.
Yeah. What about Duncan Lake? This is how would you describe it? Any way that what are your impressions of the lake and what is it sort of?
Well, one thing, it's nearly all glacier water, and it's very cold, and has a peculiar colour due to the surrounding territory, I suppose, and the fact that it is really snow water from the glaciers. And its rise and fall, of course, is governed by the snowfields in the upper Duncan.
That's pretty well out of Glacier Park, isn't it? A good deal of the water.
Yes, yes. The upper part of the Duncan borders on Glacier Park. Glacier National Park.
Yes. Well then, what are its characteristics other than that? Anything else? Has there been many people, a lot of settlements around it, or is it a lonely lake, or what? How would you describe it? What is it? What has gone on here?
Well, on the upper Duncan, when I first knew it, the country was really wild. It was a wilderness, and to get there, the only way up was by boat. And the river is treacherous and dangerous, and you got to know it. And the chief pilots, as it were the trappers. The trappers were, first of all, Billy Clark, Harry Tomlinson, and Slim Hatfield and Errol Stevens. These were the four trappers that practically controlled it. And if anybody wanted to go to the upper Duncan, you pretty near had to get some of these fellas to take you up, because they were the only fellas that knew it. But in the early days, there was a fellow called Jack Haley, came in from the other side, by Ferguson, and started a ranch 15 miles up the river. It's now almost sunk in the mud. You can hardly get in the barn door where the pack horses used to go in. And Maud Haley stayed there by herself for quite a few years after her uncle, Jack Haley, died.
What was she doing up there all that time? What was she?
She was looking after her uncle, and she had the prospectors for boarders, and there was trail crews, grizzly bear hunters.
It always was a pretty wild country then, I suppose.
Yes, it's still very wild up above where they're logging. Very few people have been to the head of the Duncan.
And he was the only settler there, Haley.
Yes, yes.
None of these English ranchers went up that far around.
No, there was very good placer mining at Hall Creek, which is 10 or 12 miles above where Haley's ranch was. And old Jack Haley used to pack in their supplies for them. There was quite a few cabins round there, and even a small settlement called Placerville.
How would Jack Haley get his supplies in?
Up the river, by boat.
His boat or other boats or what?
Well, he had a canoe, and Mr. Greenlaw, who run the post office in Howser, and before him a Mr. Simpson, they freighted up the river for the prospectors and the placer miners.
I see, they placed their order down here. And he
Yes.
Yes.
At that time we only got mail once every 2 weeks in Howser. It came up on the Moyer and up on the train to Howser. And every 2 weeks, of course, that was a big day in Howser, mail day, because also along with the mail came the liquor. And all the old-timers would get together at the bottom of the hill here when they knew it was about time for the truck to arrive from Howser Station. And as soon as they heard the truck, one of them went to get the wheelbarrow and wheeled the wheelbarrow up alongside the truck and put the booze on the truck, and the mail went on up to the post office.
And put the booze on the...
On the wheelbarrow. Put the booze on the wheelbarrow and then they divvied it out. Of course, there was all kinds of gin and whiskey and rye and beer, but there was always a wheelbarrow full.
You had to order it, I suppose.
Oh yes, they had to order it, and it came express, you see, because it can't go through the mail.
And that was, yeah. There were a lot of old-timers living in Howser, or around the lake in those days?
When I came to Howser, there were 7 trappers here. Bachelors. All bachelors. And nearly them all kept on trapping till they were between 70 and 80.
A healthy life for them.
Yeah.
Any of those, any stories about any of those particular people and any of their work ventures that they had?
Can't think of any
Any
right now. But
characteristics that they had, you know, that would be interesting, any little things.
well, Earl Stevens, he was part Indian. He told me his father was born in Kilmarnock in Scotland, but he was at least half Indian. He was probably the oldest timer in this country. He helped to clear the Howser town site in the 90s.
How was that town site developed? How was it that there came to be a town site here?
Mining, prospecting, gold, and the ranches that the Englishmen had over on the flat here. They had apple ranches and fruit, mostly apples.
It was this, so Howser was the central supply place for all these.
Yes, it was the post office, as it were.
Do you remember any of these English ranchers on there?
There was 3 Hinks brothers, captain, a commander, and a major, I believe, all ex-British Army and Navy, retired people. And there was an Englishman called Mr. Board, a very fine, tight fella. They're all gone now, of course. and Tim Ainsworth.
Has he had anything to do with Ainsworth Hot Springs?
Well, I really can't tell you about that.
That goes way back, yeah.
Yeah, but he was a retired British Army officer.
Were any people getting fruit out of here at that time? Or
Yes, yes, they used to ship apples. Shipped a lot of apples.
Any stories about those English people that you recall?
Well, the finish up, you might say, of the Matthews Ranch. There were two brothers, Matthews. One was a tinsmith, and the other, I think, was a carpenter. And they staked land up the lake here on the other side and developed a very fine ranch, which is now owned by Dr. Bessaker. And one night, the bear got in the apple tree. And they were hard-working fellows, and they didn't think the idea of the bear getting away with the apples was very good. And they went out there with a shotgun. And it was dark, and they got in a fight with the bear. The two of them fought the bear. And they were both finished up in the Castle Hospital. One died almost right away, and the other lingered on for a few months, and he died too. So that was the finish of the apple business.
They were the last apple growers?
Yes.
What year would that be?
1939, I think.
But it had been dwindling, of course.
Yes, it had been going down ever since.
No market for it.
No market, no.
What are the characteristics of this lake? Is this a dark lake, a moody lake, or is it a bright lake?
You get about 3 good storms a year on this lake. Otherwise, it's fairly reasonable. In fact, when the planes come here that are going to Lardeau, their destination may be Lardeau, many times they'll go down there and the main lake is too rough, and they'll come back up here and be able to land quite easy on Howser Lake and proceed to Lardeau in the car.
Is it largely known as Howser Lake around here these days?
Well, Duncan Lake too.
That's its proper name, isn't it?
Well, I really don't know about that.
They talk about the Duncan Lake Dam.
Yes, yes, yes. It might be probably better known as Duncan Lake.
It's are there any stories about the lake, any legends about the lake at all?
Well, when George McGinnis logged here in the early 30s, it froze over. Oh, there would be about a foot of ice, or maybe 16 inches of ice on it. He used to run his horse wagon right up the lake, right up to the ranch there. And at times, the odd year, it's frozen so badly, the river as well, the Duncan River, Upper Duncan too, that you could walk from Haley's right to Howser. Walk right down the river, down the lake. When the beaver trappers on the Upper Duncan, Billy and Harry Tomlinson, used to get ready about sometime in March, when the ice would be beginning to get thin, they would get their 2 canoes, put them on little sleighs, put their outboard inside there, get skates on, and push their canoes up the lake until they finally got to the edge of the ice and when it broke through, they jumped in their canoes and retrieved the sleigh, put it in the boat, and went on from there by water. They used to do that year after year.
Wouldn't waste any time that way.
No.
Yeah. Are there any Indians up here at all?
Never since I've been here have there been any Indians.
I wonder why that is.
But at one time, the Indians used to come here for fishing. and also muskrat trapping, because there's one of the bends on the upper Duncan called Indian Teepee Bend, and there was the sticks for the teepee there until, oh, maybe 20 years ago they were still there. And down at the mill site at the bottom end of the lake, that's the south end, when they were clearing the mill site for the dwellings, for the workers, they came on an Indian kitchen, midden, and we got quite a lot of old Indian tools, stone tools.
That's very interesting.
Yeah, we have some up there yet.
Yeah. Has that been explored at all?
No. No, they were just digging to clear for houses. See, and they came on these, there was hand axes and mashers. We have some up there now.
Has that site been explored any further?
No, nobody.
Where is it exactly?
Just on this side of where the mill is burned down. There's one building down on the mill site. Right below that, you could see that was a nice place to camp when they were fishing, see.
Is that known officially, this midden at all, you know?
I don't think so.
No.
No.
Yes. Will that be covered by the dam? That
Oh, yes.
will be, yeah.
Yes, it'll be on the edge of the dam. When the water is, when the dam is full, it'll be just about on the edge.
Any other mill sites around here, midden sites that you've heard
No,
of?
no, that's all.
Yeah.
One of the famous characters around here was Red MacLeod. There's a creek over in the East Kootenays named Tata Creek. You may have heard the story. Well, Red, he got old like everybody else. I was in Nelson when they brought him in to hospital there. He had an infected finger, and Dr. Bennett of Nelson was looking after him. And I went up to the hospital with Dr. Bennett and to see Red. And Dr. Bennett said, "Mr. MacLeod, I'm afraid I'm going to have to take that finger off." Red says, "Well," he says, "I haven't worked for 30 years, so I'm not going to start now, so it doesn't matter."
And then what happened?
Well, they took Red's finger off, and he was walking around the streets until with the bandage on in a sling there. And my partner, Ray Shaw, was interested in this country too. And then there's a creek over in Lavina called McLeod Creek. And Ray and I met him on the Baker Street once, and Ray says to him, "Mr. MacLeod, there's a creek up there called McLeod Creek. Was that creek named after you?" And Red looked up and the tears run down his cheeks, and he nodded his head. Now McLeod Creek, when Red used to get in bad, and they were after him with 6 shooters, he used to go up Lavina and hole up in the head of McLeod Creek.
Did he have a little cabin up there or something?
Yes.
Did what sort of things would he do getting bad? I mean, what was his?
Red MacLeod, he was a kind of a Rob Roy. He would rob you, he would steal chickens from you, and invite you to a chicken dinner. And he would steal from somebody that probably could afford it and give it to somebody who thought it needed it. That's the type of guy Red was.
What did he look like?
Well, he was pretty old when I knew him, but you could see he had been a good husky Irishman. Red Irishman.
He was the one that got said the Tata of the
Yeah,
Tata
yeah,
Creek, yes. He
yeah.
had quite a reputation there in East Kootenay.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
And so he came around when it was too hot for him there. He came around here.
That's right, yeah.
Was he here right here on the lake, on Duncan Lake? Or was it?
His last cabin is down at the head of the main lake on that side.